What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? How big would you play if you knew that you can survive any heartbreak, any breakdown, any betrayal? What would you do if the things that you were afraid of you knew were absolutely nothing? They were all opportunities for you to get stronger in your faith, stronger in your resiliency. What would you do? The antidote to despair is action. The prescription for radical success is action. The difference between you and the person living their dreams that you're watching is simply the amount of action. It's not the hookup. It's not the family they were born into. It's not the gender. It's not the culture. Those are all great stories that we give it. But it really is the things they did and how much they were willing to do it.
See, some people, you haven't pushed non-negotiable yet. You're still optional. I really would love to be successful. And so
I want to be successful.
I want to be successful.
I want to make money.
I want to make money.
Be healthy.
I want to be healthy, but it's not non-negotiable yet because the moment the rubber meets the road and you feel a little skin and it gets a little tender, you don't want to give blood. You don't want to give sweat. You don't want to give tears. Let me just tell you, you can't take the elevator to the top.
Right.
It ain't nothing but stairs. There's a mindset that comes with abundance, that they think differently. They don't just do something different. There's not a hookup.
Yeah.
There's no hookup. Like, it's not true. I realized that I needed to change my mindset. I needed to learn something different. And I needed to know it at a cellular level. I realized that I had to, at a cellular level, first, before I went to get any more information, I had to be willing to divorce and evict some belief systems that I already had. That they had taken me as far as they can take me, and now they're holding me back. I was in discomfort. Right. I was very uncomfortable with my thinking. But here's what I know about the human spirit, is that the human spirit has a power of choice. And most people don't want to choose this kind of thinking because it costs you something.
Mm-hmm. What's the cost?
The cost is you got to get up earlier. You get up earlier than the average guy. Your day, what you do in a day is what some people do in a week. Mm-hmm. What you do in the morning is what some people do in a 12-hour day. You got to be willing. Some people say, I got to do all that. I don't want to do all that.
It's a lot of work.
Okay, great. Then have your life. Like, you sign up for your life experience.
How can you be unapologetic and non-negotiable? See, so many of you want to play big in the world, but you keep making it optional. And every time it gets too hard, you sit it back down. The moment you make it non-negotiable, not an option, slide every option off the table, you're not wondering about the mountain and how big it is because you said you must bow down. You have to have a level of certainty for you. You got to believe in you, bank on you, trust in you like you never have before. And every single thing that you've ever done, every single thought you've ever had, every single decision you ever made, built you for such a time as this, and you are perfect for the job. Perfect. No one has your unique, unrepeatable fingerprint. No one can do it like you.
Don't count the number of times you've been knocked down. Get attached to the number of times you get up.
So success leaves clues. I'm going to give you some of the clues. And the one thing we have to constantly remind ourselves is to create micro wins to get to our macro wins. That we go after the macro win, but we only look at the macro win. I want you to look at the micro wins and get 5 micro wins under your belt so you can create your macro win. We create micro wins so we can get to macro wins. And we celebrate the micro wins. Far more celebrations in life. Number 2, we fail, but we always fail forward. See, people are going to fail. Abundant thinkers, we fail forward. We fail and we ask the question, what lesson did I learn? And what will I do differently the next time? Bring it on. Some of my greatest lessons came wrapped in sandpaper. They came wrapped in expensive lessons. They came wrapped with a hot credit card that I had to pay it off with. They came wrapped with a lawyer I had to hire. They came wrapped with tears on my pillow. But when I got the lesson, you better know I didn't have to get it again. Some of you are using your lesson as luggage, using your lesson as shackles, and your lesson is your fuel to do it differently the next time. So abundant thinkers, we fail. We just fail forward every single time. Abundant thinkers, we're not only responsible, write this down, number 3, we're not only responsible for our actions, we're not only responsible for our thoughts. Abundant thinkers go the step further, and we're responsible for our reaction before we ever do it. It doesn't mean we react and then apologize. It means we never do those things we have to apologize for. Yes, yes? We don't blame it on that's how I've always been. That's old. Grow up. You're genius. You're brilliant. There was a point where you might be there, so let me know if there's a point there where everything that you've been and every person, every characteristic that you've been that doesn't serve you, you need to confront it. And you need to say, thank you for getting me to this point. But in order for me to get there, I have to leave you here. You won't fit doubt. You won't fit worry. You won't fit being afraid of being seen. Who are you willing to become at the risk of being seen? What are you willing to do at the risk of being wildly successful? What are you willing to say at the risk of being heard by everybody? What are you willing to model at the risk that people will follow you? What are you willing to let go at the risk of getting something greater? See, it's not in all the information you gain. It's in what you're willing to do with the little bitty nuggets. If you just did half of what you've learned, just half. If you were willing to stand half as tall as who you know yourself to be. If you're willing, whose life would you change? Because when you get that your journey has less to do with you than it has to do with everyone who will be blessed enough to cross your path, then you're willing to do the thing you don't want to do. Say the thing you don't want to say so you can hurry up and be the person you've always known yourself to be. And if you sit down and you set down on all of us, I am not here to let you off the hook, because we need a lot more people like us doing this work. I don't look at the world and get frustrated. I look at the world and get busy. So I just came here. I came here to find out, what are you willing to do that you've never done before? What are you willing to say that you've never said before? What can you do that you've never seen?